Hey guys, Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films back again with Doctor Who. Last time around we had the 11th Hour. What was that one about?
Well, the 10th Doctor had regenerated, and his regeneration kind of blew up the TARDIS, and it crash-landed outside of London. It was Ledworth. Anyway, crashed in the garden of a little girl named Amelia, and he was very schizophrenic, as he tends to be when he regenerates. Said he'd be right back. When he came back, it was 12 years later, and the town thought Amelia was crazy because she kept talking about the Raggedy Doctor. But there was an alien entity that was coming in, and he had to figure out how to defeat it. And as he began to show himself more and more in town, everybody went, oh, wait a minute, she was right, she wasn't crazy. And they went to the hospital, and her friend Rory... friend Rory, who was a nurse there, was taking care of the patients who were somehow in telepathic contact with the alien. But at the end, he confronted the alien and said, Daleks and Cybermen and Sontarans, oh my, and basically said, if you know anything about them, you know what happened to them when they confronted me. I am the Doctor, and they disappeared.
Well, that's the interesting thing, is that they defeat Prisoner Zero, but then the aliens that were trying to get Prisoner Zero, he called them back and chewed them out for, threatening a level 5 planet, as he says. So,
and it tells Amy, who's Amelia, who's now Amy grown up, that he'll be right back, and it's 2 years later. And she decides to go with him, but the last shot was kind of cool because as she was getting into the TARDIS or going away with him, they showed her wedding dress. So supposedly she's getting married the next day.
Yeah, so that is pretty much where we left off. Now this is technically where a lot of minisodes start getting made, and pretty much none of them are worth it. I mean, they're fun little minisodes, but pretty much none of them add anything, so I'm just gonna be honest, I think we're just gonna skip all of them.
Okay.
So but there's like a quick little mini-sode just before this episode that just shows like Amy talking to the Doctor, trying to understand him a little bit, and there's the most notable thing from that mini-sode is the TARDIS like pulls up on a viewing screen all the female companions that the Doctor has had before, and Amy realizing she's not the first and just going through every single one of them. And the one of note is when it gets to one and she says, wait a minute, is that like a leather bikini? What's going on? And that's Leela,
yeah,
obviously. So, which back in the day, I didn't know who Leela was, but I don't know.
Well, that might be fun to watch. We don't have to react to it, but it might be fun to watch.
Yeah, we'll pull it up at some point. So, just the same with Torchwood episodes. One of these days, I know you guys are starting to doubt more and more that we're going to get to season 3, but we're going to get there one of these days, so it's just going to take a long time. Anywho, but yeah, that was pretty much the first episode. You got anything else moving on?
I was just reminding Alex that yesterday on my Facebook feed, a memory popped up that 7 years ago, August 22nd of 2018, was the first time that he and I recorded together. We did a reaction to the 4 parts of Unearthly Child, and like seriously 160-something comments on it, and everybody kept saying that I should come back, and you said basically we wouldn't do another one until November.
Yeah, because we were going to do the next 4 selected episodes. So we did the Daleks, we did Tomb of the Cybermen, we did Terror of the Autons, and then I think Genesis of the Daleks.
Could be.
So yeah, it's like we weren't going to be doing that. Like at the time, I was like, we're not going to do all of classic Doctor Who. That'd be ridiculous.
And 7 years later, here we are.
Yeah, 7 years later, we're still watching Doctor Who. Well, and that was the thing too, because I also didn't think, because at that point I had only just finished series 2 of Modern Doctor Who, and then you got on camera and you're great, and you've warmed up to the camera a lot, But I mean, but it happens for everyone who goes on camera, is that you weren't accustomed to it. You weren't ready for what we were doing, especially for such a strange concept as a reaction video. So nowadays, we can look back on that and be like, oh, how silly that was 7 years ago. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know. But here we are, 10 doctors later, at least, and we keep going. There's still so more. I mean, we got this guy, 12, 13, 14, 15. I guess there's only 5 left, technically, so we're making our way there. You know, one thing I did think about is, because we had to do the separate retrospective video for the 10th Doctor, you know, we did that for the 5th Doctor, too. And I thought, are we just going to do this every 5 Doctors? And I thought, there's no reason why we would have to do that for the 15th Doctor, though. But then I thought, I was like, maybe, but we might still have to. I don't know. I mean, granted, his last 2 episodes, it's a 2-part finale, and they are kind of long, so maybe we will. I don't know. I'm going to need, like... I feel like once we get to the end of the 15th Doctor, I'm going to, like, bust out some, like, Crystal Head vodka or something. Like, I'm going to need something to get through that. And I don't drink.
The man has never had a drink in his entire life.
I don't drink, but I'm gonna bust out the Dan Aykroyd Crystal Head vodka for that one. It's only $50, and apparently it's good. So,
mix it with a little orange juice.
Well, yeah. So
have a screwdriver. We can have our own sonic screwdrivers.
Well, yeah. So, there was someone that did a video about the Crystal Head vodka, and it's just like, boy, Dan Aykroyd poured mysticism and science into making this vodka, and it's really strange. But there's like a clip where he's on Larry King, and he's talking about it, and it's like, oh yes, and it's good, it's nice, it's clean, it has no glycol. Larry King just has the shot in his hand. It's just the look on his face, like, glycol. What is it not supposed to have that? What is that? And so he takes it, and it's apparently it was a little too strong for Larry King. So,
anywho.
Yeah, that's it. I've got no other smooth transition into the episode, so...
The beast below.
Let's just get going.
Alright, here we go.
Well done, Ben. Well done, Mandy. Bad boy, Timmy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Zero.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, that face was less scary.
Though the man above might say hello, expect no love from the beast below.
Should've just taken the stairs.
And notice there's not the normal just 4 knots, it's da-da-da-da-da-da-da, it's like 8 knots.
Well, good job, Amy.
My name is Amy Pond.
Getting stuck in space.
Doctor!
She got stuck again.
We are observers only. That's the one rule I've always stuck to in all my travels. I never get involved in the affairs of other people's or planets. Ooh.
Yeah, maybe on paper.
Sorry. Checking all the water in this area. There's an escaped fish. Where was I?
Why did you just do that with the bottle?
No, I think a lot. It's hard to keep track. Now, police state. Do you see it yet?
Where?
Are you sure?
Saw it myself. Are you going to tell her?
We're under orders to tell her.
Well done. Keep tabs on him.
500 years in the future, they still have rotary dial phones.
It's nostalgic.
Meet me back here in half an hour.
What are you gonna do?
What I always do, stay out of trouble.
Meh. On paper.
Baffling.
So is this how it works, Doctor? You never interfere in the affairs of other peoples or planets. Unless there's children crying.
Yes.
The wounded cub, like you said.
You sound Scottish.
I am Scottish. What's wrong with that? Scotland's got to be here somewhere.
No, they wanted their own ship.
Good for them. Nothing changes.
So...
They finally broke free.
changes.
Well, they have Green Goblin powers too.
Help us, Doctor. You're our only hope.
Well, thank you,
The threat is safe. I am Liz 10, and I will find you.
Liz Shaw, maybe?
You're getting your hopes up there.
Name: Amelia Jessica Pond. Age: 1306. Marital status: unknown.
That's still in flux.
You are.
Listen to me. This isn't a trick. This is for real. You've got to find the doctor.
What have you done?
Genuinely, I don't know.
Everyone chooses the forget button.
Did you?
I'm not eligible to vote yet. I'm 12. Anytime after you're 16, you're allowed to see the film and make your choice. And then once every 5 years.
And once every 5 years, everyone chooses to forget what they've learned. Democracy in action.
Oof.
You look human.
No, you look Time Lord. We came first.
So there are other Time Lords, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
A garbage chute.
Yeah.
Where are we?
600 feet down, 20 miles laterally, puts us at the heart of the ship. I'd say Lancashire. So what's this then? A cave? Can't be a cave. Looks like a cave.
It's a rubbish dump.
And it's minging.
Yes, but only it's not a floor, it's, So,
It's a what?
the next word is kind of the scary word. You probably want to take a moment, get yourself in a calm place. Go, It's a tongue.
A tongue.
A tongue? A great big tongue.
This is a mouth. This whole place is a mouth. We're in a mouth!
Yes, but on the plus side, roomy.
How do we get out?
The eject button!
How does the boat have an eject line?
Think about it!
Vomit?
Oh, bloody hell.
Right then! This isn't going to be big on dignity! Oh, that's not the pipe.
Oh.
Stop it. I'm not leaving and I'm not forgetting. And what are you fellas going to do about it? Stick out your tongues? Huh?
Doctor?
You thought we were robots.
You must be Amy. Liz 10.
Hi.
Lovely hair, Amy. Shame about the sick. You know Mandy, yeah? You're a bit hard to miss, love. Mysterious stranger. MO consistent with higher alien intelligence. Hair of an idiot. I've been brought up on the stories. Doctor, old drinking buddy of Henry 12. Tea and scones with Liz 2. Vicky was a bit on the fence about you, weren't she? Knighted and exiled you on the same day. And so much for the Virgin Queen, you bad, bad boy.
Liz 10.
Liz 10, yeah. Elizabeth the 10th. I'm the bloody queen, mate. Basically, I rule.
You'll come with us now.
Why would I do that?
We're all robots.
The Tower of London.
The Space Tower of London.
Doctor, where are we?
The lowest point of Starship UK. The dungeon.
It's like a scorpion tail.
The creature you are looking at is called a star whale. Once there were millions of them. They lived in the depth of space and, according to legend, guided the early space travelers through the asteroid belts. This one, as far as we are aware, is the last of its kind.
You don't ever decide what I need to know.
I don't even remember doing it.
You did it, that's what counts.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't care. When I'm done here, you're going home. 3 options. 1, I let the Starwell continue in unendurable agony for hundreds more years. 2, I kill everyone on this ship. 3, I murder a beautiful, innocent creature as painlessly as I can. And then I find a new name, because I won't be the Doctor anymore.
There must be something we can do some other way.
Nobody torture, nobody. Human has anything to say to me today! Come on, use your eyes. Notice everything. Notice everything.
Our children screamed. Then it came like a mirror.
You won't eat the children.
Children screamed. Then it came. Is the last of its kind.
Increase speed.
Jen, will you stop torturing the pilot? Gotta help.
It's still here.
It came because it couldn't stand to watch your children cry. If you were that old and that kind, and the very last of your kind, you couldn't just stand there and watch children cry.
All this thing's missing is a bow tie.
But you couldn't have known how it would react.
You couldn't. But I've seen it before. Very old and very kind, and the very, very last. Sound a bit familiar? Have you ever run away from something because you were scared? Or not ready? Or just because you could?
Yes.
Once. A long time ago.
What happened?
Stole a TARDIS.
No, that.
Which Prime Minister? The British one.
Which British one?
Which British one? Winston Churchill, before you.
Oh, hello, dear. What's up?
Tricky situation, Doctor. Potentially very dangerous. Think I'm going to need you.
Well, I don't remember that at all.
In bed above or deep asleep, we all depend on the beast below.
Weren't there Star Wheels in one of the Star Wars animes?
Yeah, in Rebels. Oh, another crack. Alrighty. Well, that's not really a spoiler. You just saw that'll be in the next episode. Yeah. Alrighty. The Beast Below.
Alright. Again, this goes back to the Lazarus experiment. You have what is essentially one of the most beautiful and graceful creatures, a whale, space whale. Why does it have scorpion tentacles? I know you need the shock value, the scare value, but that doesn't make sense.
Well,
just like Lazarus turning into, was he a scorpion?
Something like that.
Somebody must have a scorpion thing.
Yeah.
But again, the humor. A lot of Eccleston had it. Some of Tennant had it. These first 2 episodes, very funny. On top of, some deeply serious stuff here. I mean, last of your kind. What made you do that? Sort of. So, but it's very well written. It's very well acted. Again, the interplay between these two is very good.
Yeah. This definitely... It's interesting watching this again, because I didn't think about this the first time, but it definitely works having Moffat take over the show, because he was so involved with Doctor Who before. And if anything, this has kind of capped off the Doctor's arc that he's kind of been on since losing Donna,
Yeah.
Like, he lost Donna, and he just thought, all right, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep taking these people that come in and I lose them horribly or something. And that keeps going through. He has this adventure with Jackson Lake. He has his adventure with Lady Christina. And then eventually he goes to Mars. And all of that, just him spiraling out of control, trying to change a fixed point in time, that leading to the end of time, which is basically just the cause of his death right there, and him admitting to Wilf, I can't be alone, I can't do this. And it's interesting that this basically caps off that arc where he does start going down that way again, because he just kind of gets caught up in everything. He sees there's only 3 choices, that I either have to kill this thing as harmlessly as I can, I need to kill every single innocent human being that's here, or I just let it go on and I do nothing. And he says at which point I have to stop being the Doctor, because I can't do that. But it's only his companion that sees the 4th option, that literally takes his advice, notice everything, goes through, just notices the tiny little details. Why does it spare the children? Why does it it never eats the children, it always brings them back up. And even just that little moment, the little scorpion tendril thing, it was kind to the children. And she was able to make this connection of what the Star Whale actually was. So that's interesting. I never thought of it as a sort of capping of that arc that the Doctor had towards the end of Series 4 and going through the specials. So,
now, a couple of things, just vaguely reminiscent of the Kobayashi Maru test.
Yeah.
You've got both things which are equally depressing and wrong, and then you simply reprogram it. You have somebody who is not the Doctor says, you're forgetting we do have the option to abdicate.
Yeah. And it's interesting because that's the whole thing with the Kobayashi Maru in Star Trek, is that Kirk cheats basically in order to change the no-win scenario, and that is brought up at the end of The Wrath of Khan and everything. But there's a series of books, of Star Trek books, about a specific captain who he did technically pass the Kobayashi Maru, or kind of passed. He took the only other alternate route available, which was just destroying the Kobayashi Maru and getting out of there before the Klingons kill you, basically, or whoever, the Romulans or whoever was the enemy in the test. And he just says it's he basically just thinks completely differently about it. Like, well, just a small science vessel that far into the neutral zone should never have been there. It could have been a Romulan trap or anything. So and even still, they could be captured by the Romulans. There could be Romulans on there torturing them. So I put them out of their misery and I got the hell out of Dodge. So, and technically that can be seen as a valid option. And
that's a real military option.
It is, yeah. And with Amy's choice for this, it's not the military mind, it's the hopeful, maybe the Star Whale was nice. Yeah. And it's interesting, I also didn't clock the first time I watched this that this is the only Star Whale that the human race found. And it's weird because I didn't put that together, because I thought every other country was on their own Star Whale doing the exact same thing. But every other country, including Scotland, got out of there as quickly as possible, leaving only the population of the UK left as those solar flares were burning the Earth, and that's when the last Star Whale came and saved them. Yeah. So, which I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I just want to believe that Scotland, they just hitched a ride with whatever other country they could. They went to the rest of Ireland and was just like, hey guys, maybe we could bum a ride or something. So I don't know.
Now the other thing, that last little parting shot with the crack in it, does that mean we're going to come back and see this group again later?
Not necessarily. It just means there is another crack in space and time that we will have to see. Okay. So, because it's essentially the same thing. Is that the crack is there, but it's not a crack in the spaceship. So
with that, they should have done something that was more similar to the crack in the wall in Amy's room. There needs to be some kind of special effect, and I didn't see that there. I would have totally missed that. I would have thought, oh, something's wrong. The ship has a crack in it, and the Doctor and Amy are going to have to come back at some point. But no, if this is the continuation of the crack in the wall, then there should have been something to tie it together, in my opinion.
So, but yeah, as for the other stuff, I mean, it's interesting, seeing. It's also interesting seeing the Doctor being mad at Amy. You shouldn't keep this information from me, and it's a difficult thing because it's like, well, Amy just genuinely doesn't remember doing that, but she did, and every single person, basically has voted to forget this, with some exceptions. They say that, if 1% of the population chooses to protest, then the whole thing gets put on ice. So less than 1% does hit protest, and then those, voting capable adults are all fed to the star whale. So, and the children that don't do well on their maths test, they try to feed it, and then it just doesn't work. So, but yeah, it's an interesting, this sort of what seems to be this, nice society of like, well, they're making it through, they're going off into space and everything's fine, and just this sort of undercurrent of this government oversight that's keeping this information from them is very interesting. So yeah, anything else?
No, and again, it's very interesting how I'm guessing Moffat and Matt Smith have decided to really make him very quirky. I mean, he's probably the quirkiest since McCoy, possibly even Tom Baker. He doesn't seem self-assured and calm and everything like a lot of the others did. Even Eccleston did. He's all over the place, but he still, you still can see that thread of the Doctor literally going all the way back to Hartnell.
Yeah. It's definitely the old man in the young man's body, where it's like, he has a lot of this energy, and, he's kind of bouncing around, and like he says, the first time he places the water on the ground, and then he puts it back, and Amy's like, why'd you do that? And he's like, I don't know, I think of a lot of things, and I have to, like, it's almost like he's got, like, I remember one time I was watching a YouTube video where someone was talking about, sometimes they just say weird things, like, in a video, and he's like, I think of things, like, I have, like, a queue of, like, things that I think about, and it's just like, this thing, this thing, this thing. But instead of looking at the queue and sorting it out and making a coherent sentence that doesn't make me look like an idiot, I just run the queue, and so I just look stupid. And it's almost kind of what this Doctor has. It's just like he just has a million different things bouncing around in his head that he can't just stop and be like, why did he place the water on the ground? I don't know, but I'll know about it when the time is right. And it's just all this information that he's processing. But at the same time, you can really see the sort of the age that the Doctor has now, that he's really, you can see an almost undercurrent of almost being tired, especially probably after everything that the 10th Doctor went through. He's just like, okay, I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to keep doing my thing, but I've been doing this a really, really long time, and that's affecting me in multiple ways, down to the fact that he can't see, he can't see some of these things that, his companion can see, basically. So it's a very interesting way of doing that, especially for being the youngest actor to play the Doctor, to really feel all that age and weight of who he is at this point in his life. Yeah. So
minor historical point too. Is Elizabeth X. I think that's very cool that she's been queen for 500 years or however 300 years.
Yeah.
But in British history, I think the Henrys there were more Henrys than anybody, because there were 8 Henrys. there were 6 Georges, 5 or 6 Georges. Charles is only the 3rd Charles. There were only 3 Richards. There's only 1 John. So to have a number that high, even though it's 500 years later, as a history person, strikes me as like, yeah, I don't think there would be 9 or 7 other Elizabeths past the Queen who would have been Queen in 2009 or 10, whenever this was.
Well, yeah.
So if they had, I mean, if she was Elizabeth V even, or Elizabeth IV, that would have made more sense historically speaking.
Well, it's also interesting too, because it's like Liz 10 has been alive for nearly 300 years. They said this was the 29th century. So that leaves, 500 extra years? Yeah. So it's 500 years between 2010 when this airs and when Liz 10 is born. So that means they had Liz's 3 to 9 all in those 500 years before they settled. They got to her, who was the queen when the earth was burning and the star whale came in, and they just elongated her life. So it was a very rapid succession of Elizabeths.
And again, at the moment, the next one, I mean, should the succession play out, the next one would be William IV. And then, isn't his oldest son Louis? He would be Louis I if he chooses to keep that name.
Well, yeah.
And most of them do.
Well, yeah. They're not like the Pope.
No.
So, you see, I feel like, and there's nothing against Leo the 14th. Is that what we're on? Of the Pope?
Yeah.
Nothing against him. I'm sure 14. That's a great number. I don't know if I would have chosen, and I get this whole new meaning of choosing the name Leo because of the last Leo guy and stuff. It's like, I probably would be like Pope Francis. Like, no, I want a specific brand new name that nobody has ever thought of. That way, I'm awesome, and I have the new name, and maybe someone else can take my name. So I don't know if I would want to be the 14th of someone, but could be worse because I went down a rabbit hole of popes when that happened. And I was like reading the Wikipedia articles of like every pope for like at least like the first 500 years of popes, and that was fascinating. Just like, we don't really know about this guy. He might have been a martyr. Go on to the next guy. It's just like those early popes. Like, boy, they got like nothing on those guys except a name. But there is, I think, on Wikipedia, they'll just have like this chart of like, here's all the names and how many of them there have been. And I think it was John, I think.
John has at least 23.
Yeah, John has the most. And I thought, especially because we watched Conclave, and in that, Ralph Fiennes' character says that if he became Pope, he would choose the name John. And I just thought, what an unoriginal, uninspired name. At least there was John Paul. Yes. That's clever, at least. But it's just like, I don't know.
He followed John the 23rd and Paul the 6th, and became John Paul the 1st. Died a month later, and then we had John Paul the 2nd. I think there. I mean, you look at some of these pope names. Benedict was 15th or 16th, something like that. There's been a Pope Boniface.
Yeah.
And just some very unusual names, and you just want to go look back at the early saints. I don't know how many popes have been named Peter, other than theoretically the first one.
I think specifically no one has taken the name Peter. So I think I looked that up. Is that there's only ever been one Peter, and it's the original. I would say, just because we're talking about Pope John Paul, when are we going to get Pope Ringo? So.
Well, he would have to be Pope George Ringo.
That's true. So you can't leave George out. So anyway, Elizabeth.
But yeah, I really like Karen Gillan. I really like Matt Smith so far, and I'm sure that just like with Eccleston, just like with Tennant and all the others, there'll be some scripts that are not quality. But so far, I'm really enjoying it. And the people who said, I'm done now that Tennant's gone, I'm done with Doctor Who, you don't know what you're missing, because this guy, and the writing is top notch.
Yeah, it was one of the fascinating things is that when I was watching Doctor Who, I started to realize, like, I had seen YouTube videos where people were talking about a specific writer, and I was like, who's that? I was like, I don't know that show. And then, like, as I started going through the Tennant era, I was like, wait a minute, they're talking about Moffat. And I found that Stephen Moffat is a very divisive writer, apparently. But then I watched, Moffat's going to write 6 seasons, basically, across 2 Doctors. And watching it, I'm like, no, I really like Stephen Moffat as a writer. And then obviously, we watched Sherlock as well. Yeah. And I really enjoyed Sherlock too. And I'm like, no, I like Stephen Moffat, I think. And he's like RTD as well. He was a bona fide Doctor Who fan. And he also wrote The Curse of Fatal Death as well back in the day. And it's just like, no, they know what they're doing. They know Doctor Who, and it's all there, and it's all still Doctor Who. So, but some of the people, I mean, it is a thing that we will progressively lose people with every passing Doctor now. But yeah, it's especially with this series. Like, a lot of people say Series 5 is probably one of the best seasons of Doctor Who. Like, I think a lot of people would put this like second place after season 4, if not as good as season 4, if not higher. So, hopefully that doesn't say anything about the rest of Matt Smith's tenure. But those seasons are good too. So, but yeah, next time. The
Daleks in World War II.
We got to go back.
And right after, apparently, because weren't they in Manhattan in 1931?
They were. Well, see, that's the thing, is that they were in Manhattan, and then there was only one Dalek left, Dalek Khan. Emergency temporal escape, gets blasted into the Time War, saves Davros from the jaws of the Nightmare Child, that the Doctor says. The 2 of them escape the Time War, recreate the Dalek race to steal all the planets in Journey's End. So, at which point, all of those Daleks supposedly were destroyed by the Metacrisis Doctor. So it does kind of leave, how are there Daleks in World War II that Winston Churchill has to deal with? So, but I completely forgot that they did that, like, tease at the end there of that, and it's just like, oh, good. So it didn't even matter that you like saw the title on the
Victory
menu.
of the Daleks. Now that's an interesting title.
Yeah, so we'll have some very interesting things to talk about with that episode, but that's next time. So, and someday we'll do Torchwood. It's hard. You know the worst part, folks? He has a job. That's why it's so hard to watch Torchwood. So, he has a job, and I watch other TV shows for a pittance. That's why we have a hard time watching these spin-offs. So,
yeah, we're going into Tech Week on Monday. This is Saturday when we record. Monday evening, we're going to bring in the tech people to start the tech rehearsals for Neil Simon's Brighton Beach memoirs. Last weekend, we cast Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express. But after November 2nd, since we don't yet know the timeline of moving into our new location, I will be much freer. I won't have an actual job to go to day after day, and Alex and I can get caught up. So, yeah, it may take a while, but we will get there. By the end of the year, I think we'll have been able to watch Torchwood Season 3. So yeah, and then on top of that, I will admit I started a new show recently that's going out on Wednesday. It's an anime called, and this is where the judgment comes in from non-anime fans. It's called The 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You. If I try to explain it to you, my head will explode and your head will explode and nothing will be accomplished. So, but I watched the first episode of that, and then I edited it and I posted it, and then I thought, why did I start a new show? We're trying to watch Torchwood. What have I done? But I don't know. I got excited. So, all right. With all of that said, we're Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films, and we will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of our Doctor Who modern reactions, as well as another playlist with every Doctor Who reaction that's on the channel. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.